This video is about the maritime tragedy I witnessed in 1979, and that is over 43 years ago, and that changed my career direction. It was in December 1978. I was a third officer on an oil tanker called the Bilbao. We picked up about 180,000 tons of crude oil at Gabon in the west coast of Africa. And we arrived at Lissos, a port in Portugal, at the end of December. Upon arrival, we were told to anchor a few miles off the coast. There was a wreck at the entrance to the port, and we have to wait for the port authority to clear that wreck before we can dock our ship to discharge the cargo. We all enjoyed the next few days of slack time at the anchorage. And 2 to 3 days later, we noticed there's another oil tanker called the Betelgeuse anchored nearby. Apparently, we're in the same situation as ours, waiting for their turn to dock and discharge the cargo. Almost a week gone by, then we received the instruction to head north to Bantry Bay. While we were pulling our anchor, we also noticed that Betelgeuse were also pulling theirs. From Portugal to Whiddy Island is about 2.5 day journey, and the captain told us that whoever get there first will have the first chance to dock and discharge the cargo. So in the next 2.5 days, we were in a friendly competition with each other to reach Bantry Bay. Most of our crew, maybe except the captain and the chief engineer, prefer to lose this race so that we have 2 more slack days at the anchorage at Bantry Bay. It was winter time. The weather and sea condition at the Celtic Sea was bad, with wind force between scale 8 to 9. Unfortunately, we won the race and arrived at Bantry Bay at about 10 a.m. and we were about 30 minutes ahead of Betelgeuse. Somehow, our custom papers related to the cargo were not complete, and we were not allowed to dock. Betelgeuse took our place, and we anchored about 3.5 miles away from the dock. The first night at the anchorage was very peaceful. It usually takes 2 days to discharge all the cargo, and we closely monitoring the cargo discharging progress of Betelgeuse through the VHF radio. The second night, I hand over my anchor watch duty to the second officer as usual at around midnight. And at around 10 to 20 minutes later, we heard an alarming message on the VHF. The ship is on fire. Midship is on fire. Those were the last messages through the VHF. At that moment, the ship was engulfed in flame, and we also heard explosions. Just being safe, we immediately picked up our anchor and moved our ship about 8 miles away from the oil terminal. The most dangerous time on an oil tanker is during the cargo loading and discharging. There are many things that can go wrong and are beyond our control. Betelgeuse and our ship Bilbao were sister ships, built around the same time at a French shipyard. Both were over 10 years old, and the structural condition of both ships were poor. The corrosive nature of the cargo accelerated the deterioration of ship's structural strength. A tribunal was set up and a report was published. The buckling of the structure generated sparks, which ignited the air-gas mixture inside the tanks and created explosions. There were 4 main possible factors contributed to this accident and also the loss of lives. The age of the ship with no appropriate maintenance, human error in cargo handling, poor firefighting equipment and system, The controller of the cargo operation was not at the control room at the time of the accident. For an older tanker, it is very common to have leaks, especially on the bulkheads between tanks. As an example here with my ship, while we were discharging cargo from tank number 1 and number 2, if tank number 1 drained faster than tank number 2, the oil from tank 2 will shoot through the leak onto tank 1. This could generate electrostatic charges which may introduce a spark. Depending on the gas and air mixture condition within the tank, this may cause an explosion. To minimize such risk, modern tankers will inject inert gas into the tank to control the gas and air mixture. Similarly, if there was structural failure within the tank, which could also generate sparks, the inert gas environment could reduce the risk of explosion. Both Betelgeuse and Bilbao didn't have this safety provision. It is possible the accident can be due to human error. Most of the seamen who work on the oil tanker are of high caliber because the work is very demanding. Any human error in cargo handling would be amplified if the ship is in a structurally poor condition. When I work on the tanker Bilbao, I always think of what to do if there's a fire during cargo loading or unloading. We didn't really have any contingency plan. I worked on a newer ship before with good firefighting equipment. However, if there's a fire which I cannot handle with a fire extinguisher, I wouldn't attempt to get the foam gun to work, because I probably will not have time to get that to work. Imagine, I would be standing on top of 1,000 tons of flammable oil and fight the fire. It is like as if you are inside a burning plane, say 787. What would you do? You run. The control room operator on the shore was supposed to oversee the cargo operation. I don't want to go into debate on whereabouts of that person in this video. I returned to school that year in April. I passed my chief officer license exam in July that year. I worked very hard for 7 years to get that license. I need to work at least 4.5 to 5 more years to get my captain's license. I realized that's too risky and I should quit right there. I used the money I saved and financed my college education. That was a big gamble at that time. I may never get my degree, but I did finish my master's degree in electrical engineering in 6 years. There was another freak accident happened on Bilbao that unfortunately cost one life. If you are interested to hear about that, please let me know. Now I'm retired and I own a fleet of foldable boats, which don't need any captain's license to sail. If you like this video, please give me a like or even subscribe to my channel so you will be notified for my next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.